Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here. Secretary Shulkin, in last year's budget request, the VA estimated it would need $725 million in fiscal year 2017 and $840 million in 2018 for the Veteran Caregiver Program. Yet in the first budget of the Trump administration, you plan to only use $521 million in 17 and $604 in 2018. Those are cuts of about 30%. And meanwhile, I am hearing from so many of my constituents, as I'm sure everybody is, of caregivers being dropped from the program with no explanation and no justification. And an investigation by NPR found the Charleston Medical Center actually dropped 94% of its caregivers, 83% in Prescott, Arizona, and 83% in Augusta, Georgia. It seems to me, watching this, that this is just another way the administration is balancing its budget on the backs of veterans in need. How do you explain those numbers?
Well, let's just talk about the three things quickly that you said. So what was reported on in Charleston, completely unacceptable. 94% revocation of caregiver benefits, unacceptable. That's why we suspended the program. And today there are no revocations across the country going on until we get the guidelines better understood and in better shape.
So that's the freeze that you're talking about?
That's the, right, that's the freeze.
That's only a temporary measure.
It's a temporary measure until we revise policy, because I will not accept giving benefits and then taking 94% of them away. That's ridiculous. Second thing is that on the right amount of money to request, we only spent 500, even though 750 million was in the budget, we only spent 521 million. So in budget planning for next year, they requested 600 million, okay, which is a modest increase from where we are. Our hope, as you know, and you've been a tireless advocate for this, is to expand caregiver benefits, and we do plan on working with you with that. But we hope by expanding caregiver benefits, particularly to older veterans, which today aren't getting the benefit the way that they should, that we actually find that that's going to be cost effective. Because remember, we pay for long-term care.
Right.
So my plan is to be responsible to taxpayers. I am going to seek to expand caregiver benefits to older veterans, but I'm going to pay for it myself without asking the taxpayers to increase the bill.
Okay. Well, the ranking member and I wrote to you a couple months ago suggesting a series of important reforms. Those issues haven't been addressed, and I would just like to see the freeze extended until all of those issues in that letter were discussed. Can you do that?
Yeah. Do you happen to have the date of the letter? If not, I'll find it.
About 2 months ago. I'll find
2 months
it for you.
ago.
We'll
Okay. Of course. Absolutely.
Okay. Let me go to the shortfall in the choice program. I know that you wrote to Tri-West and HealthNet telling them to return referrals for care, including for veterans that are currently waiting for care. How many veterans are going to be affected by that?
We ask that when they can't appoint an appointment within a period of time in the contract, we ask them to return it. They're returning large numbers to us. Do you know, Mark?
I don't.
This is an ongoing process. Before, they would just wait until it took weeks and weeks to give an appointment. We've said if you can't give an appointment within 5 business days for a routine appointment, return them to the VA so we can take care of the veteran. But it's a big percent that we get back.
It is a big percent.
Yeah.
And do you know how long care is going to be delayed for veterans as a result of that?
Well, this is actually speeding up care. Rather than letting a veteran stay out there in the choice program, they return them to the VA, and then the VA community care program goes out and tries to find an appointment.
Okay, well, I'm very concerned about where the money's going to come from this, and how you're going to get the money to continue non-VA care. Seems to be 2 different stories here. Transfer authority is what I'm hearing from this year, correct? Well, if you transfer money from this year, then what you're doing is impacting what you thought was going to be a carryover for next year. So won't you need additional money for next year?
Look, the problem of having these 2 separate checking accounts and predicting where you need the money is frankly impossible. That's why we want to work to get the program into a single community care account. But look, these guys are going to help make the best predictions possible. So Mr. Yao is going to help us understand the right amount of money to transfer over to predict it, but
But it will impact 18, so, you know, we need real numbers here. We can't do our job if we don't know what the costs are. And so, you know, I'm already hearing from veterans in my state about the delays and burdens they're seeing as a result of this. I had veterans in Walla Walla who are being told they'll have to drive 8 hours round trip to Portland or Seattle just for some simple imaging tests as a result of this. I'm hearing a lot more. We're happy to get those to you, but this is having an impact, and I want you to know that, and we want to know where this money's coming from, and so we will follow up with you on that, but I think this committee needs to be aware of that.
okay.
Okay, and I am running out of time, or I'm way over time. I have other questions, Mr. Chairman, and I will submit them for the record, but I am deeply concerned about that.